Hey, what's up everybody? Here's Matsik once again, and in today's video we're going to be showcasing how to root Querier from Hack the Box. This is a super fan machine, medium level. It involves Active Directory and Microsoft SQL Server basically. So I'm going to be, as always, walking you through the nmap command I use to scan the host. So you can see here I use tag pn to tell nmap that the host is already up and running, tag sv to ask every port for its version, like to send out some probes in order to check the exact version and determine what it is, right? The tag c, the c appended to the sv is just a shorthand for another parameter we have, which is tag sc, just that. But you could just squeeze them in, and they will it will be performing a scan of several, a scan of each port, if applicable, with a bunch of default scripts that the nmap scripting engine has, such as ms sql info, ms sql and tlmm info, SSL date cert for MSSQL services, and for HTTP based services it will ask for the HTTP title, server header, and a lot of more others, not a lot of other scripts, but just in this case they aren't showing up because they are not in the server, so there's nothing to show, right? Over here we have the result for the SMB service, the default scripts. So we have the SMB time and the SMB security mode. So we have a message signing enabled but not required, right? And moving on, we have the minimum rate of 500 packages a minute. Tag N to disable DNS resolution. -p- will perform a scan over the whole range of ports that are available over the TCP/IP protocol, which is 65,535. Lastly, I will be saving the output with tag on to a file called general inside a directory called nmap, right? And here's our IP, target IP. So here we see we have RPC, SMB, Microsoft SQL Server, and WinRM, right? All the others are just RPC endpoints, and basically, so well, basically from here, kind of the only option would be to start checking the SMB service. So I would use SMB, H as in host, the IP. Remember, I have defined the variable T as in target with my target IP, basically. I can try to use, first of all, no parameter here, just to see what comes up. And actually I need to define it like this, just like I told you. And this could start leaking like the contents of the share. And it does not, so I can still specify a user, like whatever, so that to perform a null session attack. It's kind of slow, I'm not really sure why. And I noticed I was sharing like the machine with another user, like in Hackbox there were two users, there were two of us. Now I'm not sure if this has something to do with it, but well, look at this. So you have read-only access to a non-default share, which is report, and I'm gonna be accessing it with SMB client, just like this, reports, and just to tell nmap that I don't want to see that I don't want you to ask me for a password because I do not have him. right? So here I am. I have a XLSM file. So I'm gonna be getting it with get currency report. Okay, I think I can close it. There you go. I can exit out, and I have a file here now. First, we have to ask what is a XLSM file. So it says Microsoft Excel, right? So X L something. And I think the M stands for macros. So XLSM, it's basically a Microsoft Excel extension that has macros in it. Now, if you don't know what a macro is, it's basically a piece of code that executes certain function. Usually, I'm not sure if it's always like that, but usually written in VB script, Visual Basic. So that would be it. Now, macros are basically scripts, right? Like, hey, I don't know. So if I have a cheat sheet of, I don't know, Bitcoin price charts, I want the macro to query, for example, the API of Coinbase and retrieve the current price so that I can give me the price in real time. I don't know, something like that. So macros can be viewed like natively. You can open Microsoft Excel and check the macros, or you could even open it in LibreOffice, but we don't have that here. Libre, right? And I think installing it will do no good for my machine. I have to use space unnecessarily, but we have luck because there's actually a tool which I just discovered after checking some write-ups for this machine. There are some tools here in GitHub, for example, that can let us inspect this kind of file. So we have a repository called Ole Tools, right? And over here you will see we have a tool, which is this OLE, OLE and VBA, which is the language. So it is used to extract and analyze VBA macro source code from MS Office documents, right? So this is installed basically by using pip install Ole Tools. You just need to pip install Ole Tools. That's right. So Ole VBA, and I can just pass the file to it. I'm gonna be using less. And well, look at this. I have now the macro here. So in comments, it says macro to pull data from client volume reports for testing required. And this is VBA. It creates a function. It creates a connection variable with a method called adodb.connection. Then it calls it, it defines a connection string, a connection timeout, arguments to set up the connection, I guess. And it says driver SQL server is Querier, trust the connection now, database is volume. And we have a user ID reporting and password and a password. So we're good here. So we have hard-coded credentials, and we can actually nano creds. I'm gonna be saving it just to have them present. Damn it. Here. So that is fantastic. And what I like to try now is to, let me see, nano creds, to check whether or not I can log in using those credentials. So rock map exec smb tu reporting e, this one, and if so, I want to see the shares. I want to see the shares. And damn it, so I need to define my variable So t equals 10, 10, 10, 125. Let us go again. And net bias connection timeout. Let us try again. I'm not really sure why this is giving out so much trouble with the connection timing. Once again, let's try. And now it says status no logon servers, which is weird. Usually we see like status logon failure or something like that. In this case it says no logon servers. It's like domain wide there's no SMB server. So at this point we need to specify the domain, which we don't want to be Querier or HTB.local or whatever, but workgroup. That will be assuming the SMB service is open only locally on the machine. And it does, right? Now we have a valid set of permissions, a valid set of credentials, same permissions, so that is not so much useful for us. We have WinRM as well. Let me remove the shares here. Maybe WinRM is just open in the locally. Maybe not. And in this case, I remember CrackMapExec also has a way to check MS SQL credentials. So let me try that. And table user has no column named. I don't know why is that. Let me try like this. Login failed. The login is from an untrusted domain and cannot be used with integrated authentication. So that's fine. I mean, it doesn't say that the password is wrong. It just says there's an error because we are not trusted. Now, you could start looking up on Google like how to log in with MS SQL credentials, Kali Linux, like all that kind of hacking keywords, and you would eventually come across with an in-packet tool called MS SQL client.py, right? So again, this is just a in-packet tool which you can use as well. I mean, the same way you use psexec, wmiexec, I don't know what else, whatever you want. Get MP users, so on and so forth. So I'm going to be specifying the target. So I'm going to be using reporting. Password is going to be this at my IP. And it says login failed for user reporting. But the truth is, you would just come up with this idea after a bit of trial and error, just trying out what things can work and what of them cannot. And you would come up with the idea of using Windows Auth, which you can see over here in the help section, right? And do the work. So now that we used it, we are in. Now we have a super helpful cheat sheet here of pentesting MS SQL, which you want to revise yourself. We have Metasploiting here. We are not gonna use that. And we have common enumeration, just like select username, reporting, select version. You know it works, obviously. And over here, if you scroll down, obviously you want to try all this just to see if you catch any error and any particularity, any user or whatever you want. And look at this, execute OS commands. So it says, note that in order to be able to execute commands, it's not only necessary to have xpcmd shell enabled, but also have the execute permission and the xpcmd shell stored procedure. You can get who, except sysadmins, can use xpcmd shell with. So we're gonna be doing that. We're using a database called master, and we're executing sp help protect xpcmd shell. And it says there are no matching rows in which to report, right? Over here, what else can we do? check if xpcmd shell is enabled. Doesn't show anything, so I'm assuming it's not. But apparently we can like configure it. Right, I'm not gonna be using this. You can see below there's a one-liner, but every time I used it, it didn't work. So okay, it says user does not have permission to perform this action, so there's no way we can get past this stage. But anyway, I mean, here's what we do if we had permissions, but we don't, right? So yeah, let's just get going. And it says over here, steal net and TLM hash relay attack. You should start the ESMB server. Okay, so basically we have XP directory, which if you don't know, you can look it up on Google and you'll notice that it's a MS SQL function to list directory basically. And from that, you can list the directories of a remote share, which is ours. And from that, capture the authentication hash used to exchange information with responder, right? So let me do that. I'm going to be using responder I-0. Right, sudo. I don't know why I thought I was in a sudo, because I was always use it at sudo, so I was just used to it. And we'll be doing something like this, but before we will like to do something like this: 10 10 14 13. That's my file. I'm gonna be querying a folder that doesn't exist, just to see what's going on. And okay, so basically, since I already did the machine, it wouldn't show me like the hash. So let me see what I can do with this in order to show it. Okay, so I'm not really sure what I can do to show it, but what I can do is to install the in-packet SMB server. I'm gonna be calling it folder, just like that, and I'm gonna be specifying the path we want the share to be, which is right here, and I'm gonna be giving it SMD2 support, and that's it. So from here, I think I can do the exact same. There you go. And now we see the hash, a net and TLM version 2 hash, which we can use for passing the hash, but we can definitely try to crack, right? So I'm gonna be using this. I'm gonna be using John the Ripper. I'm gonna be passing the hash and specifying a word list ROCU, which has 14 million passwords. And well, obviously the hash indicates that we have a user, which is MS SQL SVC over domain Querier, and a lot of information. Now it cracked it successfully, and we found corporate 568 in MS SQL SVC. So that is fantastic. And I'm just gonna go ahead right away and try to log in as it MS SQL SVC, and over here corporate 568. Let us see, and it works, right? And well, now that we have another user, why don't we try to do this? Like check if CM is enabled. It shows nothing. But what about if we do this? Changed from 01, so it changed successfully apparently, right? So this turns on advanced options and is needed to configure xpcmd shell. So I'm going to be using reconfigure, and this enables xpcmd shell. It worked as well. Reconfigure again, and over here you should be able to do this: execmaster xpcmd shell whoama, and it says Querier MS SQL SVC. I see a lot of commands in there, but that's just right. I'm gonna be, for example, if config, if ipconfig, I think it is. There you go. So it's kind of like ugly looking, but it's fine. It's executing commands. So we have remote command execution, which is just fine. And I'm gonna be opening another window here because I want to set up a netcat listener over port 4444 because I'm gonna be calling a reverse shell with this. Okay, ref shell, just gonna be copying it here, except that I'm gonna be, well, let me cd back to exploits. I can exploits, and I'm gonna be copying users, what was it? Oh yeah, I'm gonna be using opt tools power view now. So I'm gonna be using user share Windows resources power exploit shell. What was it? No, yeah, I'm sorry, I have my mind in other planet. Okay, so I'm gonna be copying opt tools and nishang that ps1. Don't have it or what? Shells nishang hell. Okay, yeah, invoke PowerShell TCP.ps1 in here as niche.ps1, just like that, just to make it easy. So if you do not have this, please go to GitHub and look for nishang and download the whole, clone the whole repository and use invoke PowerShell TCP. Now we're gonna be editing it because with this commandlet, we're going to be invoking an expression, importing a new object using the net web client method, and we're going to be loading into memory. This is used for loading into memory, not into disk. This content right here, right? And well, this is just optional, but it's piping it to a PowerShell node profile. But we need that. Once it's loaded into memory, it gets executed right away. So with that, to do that, we're going to be writing this, which is invoke PowerShell TCP reverse IP address. We're going to be writing ours over here, 1413 port 444. That's just about right. 5.3 HTTP server 80. Yep. And with this 1413 80, like that. And I don't remember how it was saved as. Right, nest.ps1. So once I invoke this, it will be, actually I don't need the port 80. I don't know why I typed it. So I'm gonna be querying this content. I'm gonna be downloaded into memory and interpreting it, hence executing it and giving us a reverse shell back here. Right, so let's go. We should see a 200 request. There you go, and there we go. Cool. So we have a PowerShell session here. Okay, first enter necessary. Who am I? There you go. Who am I? Oh. When I tried it, when I tried that at first, it gave me an error. Let's see now. Who am I? Oh. Okay, it worked. So first things first, privilege name. We have SE impersonate privilege, which should let us execute potato exploits to impersonate privileges such as juicy potato or rotten potato, and get a root shell. System info. We're gonna be seeing the only system we're running or we're at, and it says Windows Server 2019 standard. So as far as I know, like juicy potato exploit is patched for this version of Windows Server, and in Windows 10 from the build number 10,000 something is as well. So maybe we could try with a rotten potato, if that's fine, but this is not the intended way to escalate privileges. Okay, in order to do that, we have several methods, but we're gonna be using one, which is from now user share, Windows resources, power exploit, what else, Revisk, power up. I'm gonna be saving it as pub.ps1, just easy to call. And power up is just a PowerShell script that helps goes a long way in enumerating system weaknesses. All right, basic but powerful privilege escalation audits and checks, and we can call it the same way we did both. I'm gonna be starting up my Python web server and invoke expression, new object, add that web client, limit down dot string HTTP and 10 14 13 up.ps1, just like that. 200 over there, came back over here, we're good. And in order to call it, we can cat pub and grep for function. Yep, function. And we'll see we have a lot of them. For example, we can get web config, get application host, whatever, a lot of them. And what about if we tried invoke? Because that's a way of calling it. Okay, let me see. Okay, now we're getting good function. Maybe here grep or invoke now. Maybe invoke. Nah, it's fine. Main grabbing function, and well, we have two that are good to use, which is previous audit, and there's another one. I don't know how to find it automatically, but it's invoke all checks. All right, just that, invoke all check. Yeah, I don't see it, but we'll be all right. So let's go back and we can invoke all checks, and that will be running a lot of checks basically that will tell us possible options we have to exploit in order to escalate privileges to move laterally up the tree, right? And we just wait until it comes back. We'll see something super interesting. I think actually there's a way to find what we'll be finding after this one, but yeah, I mean, we would need to inspect the SMB share. That's a hint I'm gonna give you guys. So let's just wait here, and there you go. So look at this right in front of my eyes, a password administrator. And this is because we have cached GPP files, right? So look at this. We have program data, Microsoft group policy history, machine preferences groups.xml, and that means basically that groups.xml it's a file from GPP that you can find on the stateful. I think we can find it SMB. Well, yeah, just like that, but stateful. Or does it need credentials? We can give it anyway. SMB map. Yeah, it's super slow, the SMB service. Okay, yeah. So I know why. I mean, usually when you scan or you see the contents of a share, you will see sysvol right over here. This time is not. I actually thought there was something missing out, but yeah, it was apparently it was like deliberately deleted from there, because otherwise we could be able to find this groups XML and you know, like use GPP decrypt or similar tools to decrypt the hash, which is a super weak hash because the key was actually leaked by Microsoft. So yeah, so I'm gonna be using rack map exec to see if over WinRM we have the user administrator and with P. Yes. Let me checking that. And if we can, we won the lottery because we can log in as administrator. And it says not. What about SMB? Can we? I mean, I think we're gonna need to add that the work group. Obviously, that means that we are hacking the machine, the local machine, not the domain machine, right? So, or domain joined computer. So we can do that, like SMB, no, psexec.py. We're gonna be using the target from here, which is target administrator, this and this. I'm gonna be enclosing the password, the whole username and password into single quotation marks, and we'll see. And there you go, it's uploading a file called .exe. Opening SBC manager, it will create a service, it will start the service, calling a kind of a reverse shellback. That is what psexec is all about. And we should be getting our shell. It's kind of slow again. Okay. Okay, then got. So who am I? System. And I can go to users. Right? And from here I'm gonna be doing this. There is B A minus A minus H. From here, I want to find recursively, right? That is all about. I'm gonna be repping out, like filtering out find string, the same as grep, case insensitive, and I'm gonna be avoiding words such as app data, local cache, Microsoft, all for all users. I don't want to see that folder. And what else? VMware, just in case. So let us go. Super slow. Hopefully it won't crash. The like the PSXX connection. Taking a long time, real long time. Damn it. So I hit Control C and closed the listener unintentionally. But anyway, I mean this command always works, and it's all about looking for files that doesn't match the specific string, like update a local, things that we are not into, right? This won't come back, but we see that we are system in the authority system, so we're good. We're successfully rooted Querier. That's super cool, and you should be able to find your flags right away. And that's it. So I hope you guys liked it. Again, I think it was super interesting machine. I personally did learn a lot. MS SQL, even though you may not use it in your day-to-day, in your daily basis as a pen tester, is something recruiters always ask you about in your interview. So make sure you understand the concepts, the functions, the impact you can have when you have access to certain functions, such as the ones we saw before. Yeah, just a general grasp of what MS SQL is, and that's it. So I'm gonna be wrapping it up right here, and I'll see you later in another video, guys. Thank you very much for joining.